Hey guys, my name is Maggie and here's an update video on the cuttings of my variegated string of hearts in the propagation box. The cuttings within the propagation box did root successfully at first, but then one by one they would either shrivel up or become moldy. This is largely due to the huge fluctuations of moisture within the box. You see, the whole premise of a propagation box is to create a miniature greenhouse environment to keep the plant cuttings protected until they developed healthy roots. But this plastic container shape I chose was structurally too deep. The central region would hold the moisture for longer compared to the edges. On top of that, I only created ventilation holes on the lid and not the bottom, which meant excess water could not drain away. Opening the lid slightly to rectify the uneven moisture retention within the sphagnum only messed up the humidity more. That's why the cuttings all eventually shriveled up or became moldy. Regardless of whether it was a longer chain cutting or a smaller butterfly cutting, they didn't survive for me. Honestly, I think it's my box, it's just a bad box. So in this new experiment, I cleaned an old clam hinge vented till that was used for strawberries. Clam hinge vented tills, just fancy name for a container with the lid and ventilation holes on the top and bottom. I had to Google that. Having a container with existing holes just made life a lot easier as opposed to attacking a container with office stationery. Similar to last time, I submerged the sphagnum moss in a bowl of room temperature water for a few minutes, then squeezed out most of the excess water until the moss felt slightly moistened but not dripping wet. The rectangular shape of the container meant that there was an even depth of sphagnum moss throughout. When I noticed that the sphagnum moss was drying out too quickly, I added a single layer of Glad Wrap to the top of the container as an attempt to block off some of the ventilation holes above. The transparency of the container let a lot of light through, so I kept the box indoors where it received plenty of bright, indirect light. Then, if I needed to re-wet the sphagnum moss, I filled up the plate underneath it with room temperature water and allowed the moss to slowly soak it up through the bottom holes. Then I tipped out any excess water on the plate. Essentially, I bottom watered the propagation box, as I found that re-wetting the sphagnum moss with a spray was insufficient and just left the small leaf cuttings soaked and prone to molding. Whoa, this camera is way off focus. That's better. Overall, this new propagation box was much more successful. The cuttings lasted longer, they all rooted successfully. You can even see a new leaf sprouting here. But for one as lazy as I am, I found the process to be quite tedious and slow. I personally prefer the convenience of popping a plant cutting directly into water or soil to root, and then forgetting about it. With the propagation box, you need to be wary of letting air flow through whilst maintaining the moisture and humidity within. If you're a person who enjoys being hands-on with your plant propagations, I believe creating a propagation box for your cuttings is a rewarding way to do it. But stay tuned for my next video where I'll explain the benefits of a simple repot. That went horribly wrong. Thanks for being so invested in the progress of this beautiful plant, by the way. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, or let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on propagation boxes. I mean, is it just me or is there anyone out there who's struggling as well? Bye!